We welcome you to the West Coast Conference this week. It is presented by Geico. And we come to you today from San Francisco. We're on the hilltop at USF at War Memorial Gym at Sobrato Center. Our WCC Game of the Week, the Pepperdine Waves and the hometown USF Dons. And hello again, everybody. Barry Tompkins once more with my partner, Casey Jacobson. And Casey, we've been saying this all along, but have you ever been around a more schizophrenic conference than what the West Coast Conference is this year?
I don't think I have, Barry. And besides the top three teams in this conference, the middle of this conference is just a mud wrestling match. And that's why the game that we're at right now, San Francisco versus Pepperdine, those are two teams that are in that middle bunch. It's so crucial today. One of those teams needs to create separation today.
All right, let's take a look at the mud wrestling standings as they are right now in the West Coast Conference. Up at the top, it's pretty much as expected, but no undefeateds up there anymore. The result of BYU beating Gonzaga in Spokane. 6-1, St. Mary's, a half game to the good. In the middle, pick 'em. Throw their names up in the air, see what comes down. That's where the West Coast Conference is right now. And it's a simple fact that you just have to win games you're supposed to win. And that has not been the case so far.
Oh, and look at BYU. They go to Spokane and get a second consecutive road win at the Kennel. And what impressed me most was the way they did it. Kyle Wilcher went off for 35, but the rest of the BYU defense held the rest of the Gonzaga team to only 33 points, and they completely took away DeMontis Sabonis. So BYU's a team I'm looking at right now. If they can get a more defensive identity, they could be very dangerous, Barry.
Yeah, they've lost twice up in Spokane in the last 2 years, both times to BYU. So that's turned the conference upside down, and that's the way it stands right now. The subject that we talked about with Pepperdine coach Marty Wilson.
Oh, our conference is always tough. The preseason rankings to me means nothing because most people that do the rankings, they don't really know the true dynamics of what's going on within those teams, the new recruits, who they're losing, the team chemistry, the injuries, all of those things. There's some very well-coached teams. There's a lot of talent in this league. So you can throw out the preseason rankings. Obviously, for the most part, they've stayed held true over the years. But Gonzaga, St. Mary's, BYU, those guys have been towards the top, and everyone else is just fighting to get up there.
All right, here's the schedule today, Casey, and I'll say this. If I were a betting man, I wouldn't bet. That's the story of the West Coast Conference.
Oh, it really is. I mean, if you want to finish in the top half of this league, you have to hold serve at home, and then you have to try and go steal any game you can on the road, something that Pepperdine knows all too well. They're 3-0 at home, Barry. They have yet to win a game on the road, and that's what makes this game so pivotal.
Yeah, it seems so. Winning at home should be a slam dunk, and it's been anything but that.
No, it's been anything but. I mean, Pepperdine's a team that they come here to San Francisco. They haven't won here in 7 years. Marty Wilson has never beaten a Rex Walters coached team, so this is a chance for Pepperdine, who was picked by all the coaches picked them third in the conference. This is their chance to kind of show us what they got here.
And they got to get this one after 7 straight losses just to have the weekend on the road. So that's the setup for our game. It's Pepperdine and the USF Dons. Who's going to show up today? Which Pepperdine team and which USF team? We'll be talking about that game when we come back to the studio. It'll be Kelly and the coach. You never want to sneak up on the coach. Don't go away.
Welcome back to WCC This Week, presented by Geico. In Los Angeles, I'm Kelly Tennant, alongside the coach, Dave Miller. Hi, Coach.
Hi, it's highlight time.
It is highlight time, so let's get to those conference highlights from earlier this week. We start with BYU and Gonzaga. It's getting a little crazy out there, Coach.
Looks raucous.
First half, Gonzaga up 13-12. Kyle Wiltshire drains the three. Gonzaga up 4 early. Later in the first, Wiltshire gets the ball again, hits another one from deep.
Memo, he likes to pick and pop. Get a hand up.
Second half, BYU down 5. Chase Fisher hits BYU's first 3 of the game from the corner. And just under 3 minutes left, BYU down 1. Fisher decides to take it all the way and somehow gets the shot to drop. BYU takes a 66-65 lead. Next possession, Fisher gets trapped in the corner, finds Nick Emery wide open. He drains the 3 from 30 feet out. BYU up 69-67. After 2 timeouts, Wiltshire draws the foul, made the first free throw. On the shot to tie, misses it. Kyle Collinsworth grabs the rebound, but he's called for traveling.
Well, unfortunately, he lost his footing and he fell. As you see right here with the box out, he grabs it with 2 hands. So there's either a foul or it's a traveling violation because his feet came off the floor.
So then, following this, Gonzaga inbounds with 6.6 seconds left. They get the ball to Wiltshire. He drives right for the lay-in, but Nate Austin there for the game-saving block.
Well, this is the way they patrolled the paint. You see, this is one of their 7 block shots. They were dominant inside.
BYU upsets Gonzaga 69-68, the first conference loss for the Zags. I don't think a lot of people expected this one, obviously living up to its billing. 2 of the top teams in the WCC. What did you think of this game down to the wire?
Well, not too many teams win in the Kennel, but this is the second year in a row that we've seen BYU come in. Last year, they snapped a 41-game home win streak, but it was about the defense. The Zags shot 37% from the field. The Zags have been shooting close to 50, plus BYU outscored them 40-20 in the paint, and I thought Sabonis' 4th foul really hurt Gonzaga. His plus-minus is off the chart, and then KT, you also have to know, without the Polish pitbull, Karnowski takes up so much space and dominates that really was the key to the ball game. The Cougars got that win because if you want to win the league, somebody's got to go up there and win, and they've done it 2 years in a row, like I said earlier.
Yeah, hey, we know that the WCC is very competitive. In other news, Domantas Sabonis and Kyle Wiltshire named to the Wooden Award midseason top 25. So one of only 4 schools with just 2 players on the list. What makes them have such an impact?
Well, it starts with Mark Few. He's one of the best coaches on the West Coast in terms of big man development. And when you think about Sabonis, he's one of the best low post scorers in the WCC. He's automatic. With Wiltshire, he's got the best offensive skill set. He's got range. He's off the bounce. Sabonis can stretch it and be that floor spacer. But these are 2 guys that they run the offense through. I mean, everybody knows that the Zags lost good guards, but they have the best 2 front court players in America right now. It's easy to see why one of those could win that most prestigious award.
Yeah, they really hold that team together. Let's take a look at some more highlights because Coach loves them. How about Pepperdine up at Santa Clara? Earlier in the first half, Jared Brownridge with the crossover and layup with the left hand. Skipping to the second, Lamont Murray Jr. with a tough shot and the foul. Pepperdine still down 1. Stacey Davis to the rim, and he scores. Waves up 60-59. But the final seconds of the game, Brownridge on the ball, throws up the step-back corner 3 and hits. Waves with 1.3 left. Jeremy Major heaves up the long shot, but no good. Santa Clara wins it 62-60. And we take you to Pacific at St. Mary's. Gales are home, looking to bounce back after the tough loss in Malibu. First half, Gales up 13. Emmett Nahr works it inside to Jock Landale, who lays it in mid-air. Gales lead 32-17.
Catch it high, keep it high.
Gales up by 14. More from Nahr as he's left open from deep for the 3. Gales lead 38-21. Second half, Gales up by 19. They go inside to the big man Landale for the alley-oop dunk. Gales go on to win 78-62. Landale scored 24 points, going to perfect 7 of 7 from the field. So St. Mary's stands at the top of the conference now with the Gonzaga loss. How good is St. Mary's, Coach?
They're phenomenal. I mean, I think Randy Bennett is on my list for Coach of the Year. He loses 5 starters, 80% of their points, 80% of their rebounds. He's got one of the best backcourts in the country, and they've got shooters and they've got passers. They play the game the right way. And then defensively, it's very easy to see that they're well coached because they move on a string, they're proactive, and they take away all your options. You've got to really be good offensively because they're there on the catch and they exploit your weaknesses.
Hey, guess what? You ready for some more highlights?
I knew it was coming.
Let's do it. We'll take you to LMU and University of San Francisco. Skipping ahead to the second half, Brandon Brown with a perfect pass to Time Warner. He finishes big, Coach.
Well, that's why they call him money. The pass was on time, on target. That's a great vertical game.
Moments later, Devin Watson drives, spins, and gets his first field goal of the game. USF down 7. More good ball movement by the Lions. Tutu finds Peter Herman, who lays it in. More assists for Tutu. This time he finds David Humphreys for the 3. Lions up 8, and the Lions never looked back. Humphreys to Herman, who gets the dunk. Lions win it 87-83. And now it's time for San Diego visiting the Portland Pilots up at Charles Center. Look at this band. Loving the cowbell pregame. First half, Pilots down by 6. Alec Wintering drives, steps back, and drills the triple to pull Portland within 3. Second half, Torreira still in control. Gito Koch gets doubled down low, sends it all the way around the horn to Cameron Neubauer for the corner 3.
Love the extra pass, way to spread the wealth.
Later in the half, this one was all San Diego. Koch comes in again and cleans up with the offensive board and the dunk. He had 17 points on the night.
No Pepsi, just Coke.
No Pepsi. Torreiro's looking good here. Koch holding it together for this team. Go on to win 82-71. Handing Portland their 4th straight conference loss. So let's go ahead and take a look at the WCC standings. With Gonzaga's loss on Thursday to BYU, there are 3 teams at the top of the conference with 1 loss. St. Mary's are 15-2 overall and 6-1 in conference play. Pepperdine sits at 4th in the conference after the loss to Santa Clara. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the week. It's time for Player versus Coach, where we quiz the guys on one another. So this week we have San Francisco head coach Rex Walters and senior Tim Derksen facing off. So I know you're asking, how well does Rex Walters know his player? Coach and Chris McGee put him to the test. Take a look.
Number 1 question.
Number 1.
Would Tim take a yellow cab or Uber? Which would he prefer?
Uber.
All right, hold on.
You answered so
Don't blurt your answer out.
Reveal it. Okay, we actually have
What's your
an
answer? Yellow cab or Uber?
Be honest. I trust him.
Yeah, he does.
Uber.
There it is.
I'm sorry. I will not. I'll go slow.
He got so excited that he knew.
This is easy.
Second question. If Tim would be able to go out on a date, would he choose Rihanna or Beyonce?
I'm going with Beyonce, but that's what I would say. Beyonce.
Oh, crud.
Last question would be, what is the one drill when it's uttered out of your mouth that sends chills and bumps
He doesn't like you.
down
He likes it or doesn't like it?
He doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it. He hates this drill at practice.
This is a guess. I'm going to say probably frustrates him the most is defensive cutthroat. Gosh darn it.
Close?
What is it?
Driving behind close out.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Favorite non-basketball activity for Coach? Hold it.
Wow.
Okay, think about it.
I'm guessing golfing.
That's what I was going to say.
Haven't golfed in like a year.
What? That's their fault.
Yeah.
Hanging with the fam.
Hanging with the fam.
What's your coach's most famous catchphrase?
Can I choose 2?
Yeah.
'Cause I actually got-
My first one was going to be do your job well.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say stance, talk, jump to the ball, play personality.
Oh.
Let me see this.
That's nice.
He knows you better than
right
you do.
now.
Box out.
Box out,
Hit the open
rebound.
man. You know what? I like his answer better. That was good, Tim.
Box out, rebound, hit the open man.
Yeah.
This is so tough, but you know what? You should know this if you know your coach real well. What's the most points he ever scored in a college game?
College, I'm going to say 36.
Okay.
And AAU, I'm going to say 58.
Number one, I played at Kansas.
Yeah.
Nobody's scoring
that's
too
true.
many points over 20. So
30.
29.
29.
Okay.
29, I was against Oklahoma State, got the W.
43.
Big, I was upset I didn't get Player of the Year in the conference.
Yeah.
I took my vengeance out.
You still-
And then 43, playing with J.R. Ryder. You know J.R.
Yeah.
J.R. was on my team and hit the game winner. The funniest thing was I hit the game winner and said, Isaiah says to me, "Good thing you made it because I was wide open."
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Coming up on WCC this week, we'll have more with San Francisco guard Tim Derksen and show how he leads by example on and off the court. Time for our WCC Player of the Week. It's Kyle Collinsworth from BYU. Last week in a win against Santa Clara, Collinsworth had 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists to record his 9th career triple-double, which is an NC2A record. This is the second Player of the Week award for Collinsworth this season. San Francisco senior Tim Derksen is making a name for himself with the Dons. He's improved every season since arriving on campus, and this year he's the second leading scorer of the team, averaging around 15 points a game. This is impressive, but it's his work with the community where he truly excels. Here's Ezra Broder with the story.
On the court, he's come up big time and time again.
Derksen, he'll try for three to tie.
But off the court, in the classroom and the community, is where Tim Derksen really excels.
We want to reach out and make sure our people in our city and people that we come in contact know that we care, you know, and that we're here to help them in all the things that they do.
We do have a lot of power as Division I athletes to help these individuals and reach out to the community to help them.
The San Francisco senior values his work outside of the gym as much as anything he's accomplished during his 4 years on the Hilltop.
It's not about the wins or losses. It's not about the successes of the things on the court. It's really about the process, the journey, and the individuals that you meet, and to be able to give those same opportunities to other individuals is what's most important.
We want our guys to achieve at the highest levels, academically, in the community, and then obviously on the court.
In the classroom, Harper for Kids preaches the building blocks from John Wooden's Pyramid of Success.
Sports, means the world to them, and to be able to get out in the community and work with those kids and show them the work that it takes to be successful, not only as an athlete, but as a person, it means a lot to me.
In the community, assisting the 6,600 plus homeless persons of San Francisco through Harmonic Humanity, which gives out food and shelter to people like Alan.
Being a young adult, I got kicked out of the house because I was honestly, we were poor. I was selling drugs, and my mom wasn't having it. So by the time I was 17, I was out.
It's hard to really imagine sometimes a life outside of this gym or in the school, and to be able to see that and see, kind of the real world it's difficult sometimes because we have it so good, and a lot of times we take that for granted.
And in the gym, Derksen and the Dons team up with eHoops, a program that works with children with special needs, honing their basketball skills.
And be able to work with kids that aren't capable of doing a lot of the things, the majority of kids today can do, is something that was awesome to do.
Our guys get more out of it than the people that they're helping. They really do. And there's no doubt in my mind they come to really appreciate how blessed and how fortunate we are each and every day.
That's been ingrained in Derksen from a young age, being the son of a coach.
In the game of basketball, it's not an individual sport, and you genuinely have to care and serve those around you. And he's as good as any player I've ever had of serving and caring and teaching and leading those guys around him.
I just think that that's what I was born to do. I was born to inspire people through sports, through basketball.
Whatever he decides to do, he's going to be successful because he understands it's bigger than him. It's about helping those around. He's got that skill down. He understood that before he got here. Hopefully we've helped him, in his journey to do the things that he wants to do.
For the WCC This Week, I'm Ezra Broder.
Great job, Ezra. Thank you. You can catch Tim Derksen and the San Francisco Dons in our Game of the Week against the Pepperdine Waves coming up next. And here are the rest of the WCC games for today. Kyle Collinsworth and BYU on the road taking on Portland at 3 o'clock. The Gonzaga Bulldogs taking on San Diego at home at 5 o'clock. Pacific playing Bethesda at 6. And in our late game of the day, LMU taking on Santa Clara at 8. All right, Coach, so here's the question of the day. What are you looking for in the Game of the Week matchup?
Well, for San Francisco, KT, they've got to get hot from the three. Watson and Derksen combined for 47% of their scoring. And then if I'm Pepperdine, I'm going to pound the ball inside. Jet Raines, Stacey Davis, even throw Lamont Murray inside. They've got to run some action and really dominate because San Francisco likes to play small ball. Derksen starting at the power forward. But trust me, even though he's not as big as most, he's got fight, and he takes on the personality of his coach.
Yeah, well, this will be a really fun one. You were good today. Thank you.
You too.
I appreciate it. All right, that's it for me and Coach. We'll get you back to War Memorial Gymnasium after the break.
We welcome you back to the West Coast Conference Game of the Week. It is presented by Geico. Our Game of the Week here at War Memorial Gym at Sobrato Center in San Francisco. The Pepperdine Waves, the USF Dons. Let's take a look ahead on the West Coast Conference Games of the Week. We're here in San Francisco today. Next week, we'll be up in Stockton. Gonzaga calling on Pacific. Remember, Pacific really battled them there last year. LMU will be at San Diego on the 30th, and on February 6th at BYU for Pacific. On February 13th down at Santa Clara as they entertain BYU, then at LMU for USF, and we end in Pepperdine. So that's our schedule. I'm Barry Tompkins, Casey Jacobson alongside. Casey, let's look at this game and talk about the X factor.
Yeah, and I'm going with the old men, the seniors. We're going to start with Pepperdine's Jet Raines. Not only does Jet have the coolest name in the entire West Coast Conference, but he's also playing the best basketball of his four-year career. And he's an undersized center at 6'7", but to me, he makes up for it with his mobility, his offensive skill set, and his toughness. And then how about, if we're going to talk about toughness, Tim Derksen, 6'3" senior from Arizona, has been a model of consistency throughout his career, second on the team in scoring and rebounding. I can't wait to see his matchup today. Maybe he guards Stacey Davis.
I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I do want to tell you, if your name were Jet, you'd still be playing in the NBA. You know that, right?
Awesome.
Let's listen once again to Marty Wilson. We heard from him a little bit earlier. Here's Marty on his team.
Well, winning on the road is tough, and that's where our three losses, our three most recent losses have been, are on the road. And we talked about that as a staff, just trying to figure out, are we doing something? Do we need to do something differently for a different routine, or is it just our mindset? And I think a big part is our mindset of being on the road outside the confines of home and sleeping in your own bed and doing your normal routine. So we have to do a better job of that and concentrate more while we're on the road.
That's Marty Wilson. You know what strikes me, Casey, is it's going to be important, I think, for Pepperdine to get on the gas early and establish control of this game.
That would certainly help, but it's difficult to win on the road. You see it all throughout the nation, not just the WCC conference. But if there's one team that is well equipped to win on the road, it would be Pepperdine. They start 2 seniors, 2 juniors, and a freshman, so they have the experience.
Let's talk about bottom line for USF. What do they need to do? They've been a perimeter-oriented team.
They have been perimeter oriented. They don't have a lot of size. Their tallest guy is 6'9", so I expect them to double team Stacey Davis, Jet Raines in the post, maybe play a little bit of zone and mix it up.
I think it's really going to be an interesting game. How this game plays out, it's going to go a long way toward, of course, deciding who's going to win this game. The backcourt of USF or the front court of Pepperdine. So tactics are going to be interesting in this game. That is our West Coast Conference Game of the Week. It's the Pepperdine Waves as they come calling in San Francisco on the hometown USF.